Hello and welcome to Z Healthcare Heroes, the show where we spotlight trailblazers transforming healthcare for a better tomorrow. I'm your host Sonika Sundaram, and today we're honored to have with us Dr. Shyam Vasudeva Rao, a visionary leader in healthcare innovation and a pioneer in medical technology. A gold medalist from the Indian Institute of Science, Dr. Shyam has dedicated his career to revolutionizing healthcare through groundbreaking solutions in embedded systems and medical electronics. With over 23 international patents and decades of experience, he's developed cutting edge technologies that bridge the gap between accessibility and advanced healthcare, especially in underserved regions. His contributions have not only transformed patient outcomes, but also set new records and benchmarks in healthcare innovation. Welcome, Dr. Shyam. It's truly a privilege to have you here with us today.
Thank you.
Dr. Shyam, you've had an incredibly diverse background in both medical advancements as well as in technology, right? My question here is what inspired you to kind of blend both these fields together?
Yeah, this is a very interesting journey. I've been working in the early stage of so when I worked with high performance computing.
Right.
That is just one of the things. Then I worked with communication. That's I was working with Ericsson. And then came the collaboration. And if you put this all together, the three C's together,
Right.
you see that it can create wonders. And everybody is interested in doing something, in finance and that type of insurance, that type of thing. But healthcare is one thing which has been sort of not much explored. So that's where, I decided to see how we can do something in healthcare, because health is the most important thing.
100%.
And if we can apply something to healthcare, then that's going to make a huge impact and also create a lot of social impact in
Right.
that sense. Yeah. So that's where I try to put these three C's together and create some really impactful technologies.
That's awesome. I think bringing both of these together is really, like you said, the way ahead. Before we proceed to the next question, it would be great if you could tell us a little bit more about, what really is chronic kidney disease. And I see that it's really rampant in rural areas and it's a serious problem. If you could just educate us a little bit more about what really it is.
See, kidney problems are a sort of comorbidity of non-communicable disease.
Okay.
And today, the biggest problem in healthcare is the non-communicable disease, like
Right.
diabetes, hypertension, COPD. These are something, which has become so big that it's really, difficult to handle. The real problem is not the main disease like, diabetes or hypertension. It's
Right.
comorbidities, like we say diabetic retinopathy, diabetic nephropathy, diabetic neuropathy. These are the ones, which really are silent killers.
Which actually causes like these bigger problems eventually.
Exactly. And they
Yeah.
are very asymptomatic. And people don't get to know till it has gone to a very advanced stage. So
Right.
that is where, there is a need for some technology which we need to develop, which we have developed to manage this chronic kidney disease, which is part of the diabetic nephropathy.
Right.
And yeah, so this is kidney problems are not just limited to only diabetic people, it's also for the hypertensive people.
Got it.
So people with hypertension, diabetes are at a very high risk of developing this
kidney
kidney
issues
problems. So 1 out of 5 who are diabetic, and 1 out of 10 in the general population have chronic kidney disease.
later. Right.
And you will be surprised that even children in high schools, we have done some screening programs and we have found that they have chronic kidney disease. But the good thing is that, it takes a lot of time to reach the end stage.
Right. So this is
Yeah.
like a problem, right? People a lot of times with kidney disease, they don't realize that they have it until after,
Yes.
it's too late.
Exactly.
So how does like the renal, so this screening, early screening help with people discovering that they have a problem with their kidneys right now?
I am an engineer.
Right.
But I get my advice from some of the best doctors, nephrologists, and what I learned from them is that kidney is like a filter.
Okay.
and it is supposed to take out some of the things, the toxins has to go out, and then the proteins and all that has to be retained in the body.
Right.
So the kidney failure, the first thing what we can detect is that, if there is some proteins which is going out of the body. And that is basically you check for urine and you see whether there is the albumin, micro
Right.
liters of albumin in that. So that is when, that is the first biomarker for
Okay.
kidney failure. So what we have done is that, we have a special biochemistry, a strip, through which, we will be in a position to detect that in the urine is there a microalbumin, and then another is one called creatinine.
Right.
And with a simple patented technology that is using a mobile app, we'll be in a position to detect that problem.
Right. So patients can discover early on
Themselves,
itself
yes, exactly.
that, they need to, go and get this treated and stuff
Right.
like that. Because normally I've noticed people, they get into a hospital, they go for a checkup for a completely different problem and issue.
Yes.
And a kidney related problem ends up happening as like a discovery of that. So this is
Yes.
going to help in early detection for sure.
Exactly.
All right.
So you target the high risk population.
Okay.
That is those who are diabetic or hypertensive.
Okay.
Because they are the ones, who develop this problem much early.
Right.
So we try to, along with their other tests, we also do this test.
Okay.
And we detect the problem at early stage.
Doctor, is it also true that this problem is really rampant in rural areas a lot? Or probably because, a lot of things like water contamination and things like that. We are also able to help, does the program also help people in rural areas?
Certainly. We have been doing this in a lot of villages.
Right.
Where, we have health workers, not necessarily only ASHA, but there are also a lot of health workers who go door to door and do the screening.
Right.
And here the rural population is also at a very high risk because there is a lot of water, as you rightly said.
Right.
There is a lot of water contamination. There is fluoride, there is arsenic in the water. And these are some of the heavy metals. And also the other thing is that, they try to take some herbal medicines and local medicines, not
Right.
standardized. And they come with a lot of problems, like lead is something which is found extensively in these things. Even though, we may say herbal medicine is good, but if it is not done, not standard,
Correctly.
then, there are such problems. So there is mercury, there is lead, a lot of lead in that. So all these causes a problem for kidney. And the other important aspect is also that when you don't have specialists and accessible to these sort of doctors and all that,
Right.
what they do is normally they tend to take painkillers like anything.
Okay.
So they just keep popping painkillers for even a small little problem. And these painkillers are one, which cause some nephritis, which actually spoils the
Kidneys
kidney.
even
Yeah.
further. So, Dr. Rao, you spoke about reaching the right people who really need this, really need to have facilities like this. In rural areas, it's not available to find good doctors, good nephrologists who will be able to help with stuff like this. So, the program and the machine is definitely going to be helpful there, right?
Certainly.
If you could, tell us a little bit more about that.
See, in the rural area, we see that there is a lot of resource constraints, as you
Right.
rightly said. The nephrologists are not there, the doctors are not there, the specialists are not available, and even health workers, who can actually
Right.
take care of this one. So what we see is that, we need to have a product which is so user friendly that even a simple school teacher or even a high school student can do these tests. And that is exactly what we have done. So we have a very easy to use mobile app, and we have a technology which is patented,
Right.
by which they can actually do a simple dipstick test, and the mobile app will be in a position to read the strip and give out the results. And not only that, it will show them what stage their kidney problems are. It also uploads it into the cloud, and we have a nephrology system, information system in the cloud, where all this data is stored. And through AI, we are in a position to triage it and say whether it's
Right.
normal, abnormal, and should it be sent to a doctor for further analysis, all that.
So
Yeah.
places where doctors might not physically be able to be
Exactly.
present throughout, technology and through
Yes.
AI and the machine, treatment is still possible,
Yeah,
right?
very much, yeah.
Yeah, and kidney treatments are also really expensive. Is this also going to help with to make kidney treatments and healthcare in this domain less expensive for patients and treatments?
Yes. One thing is for sure that if you detect the problem at early stage, it's very, very easy to manage it.
Right.
All that they have to do is they have to manage their diabetes or hypertension. And also they need to take care of certain things like their diet. For example,
Right.
they are not supposed to eat some fruits, which are, most of the fruits are high potassium. They're not supposed to drink tender coconut. These sort of
Okay.
things, very simple things, which looks very normal or very good
Yeah.
for people who are not having the problem, CKD problem.
Right.
But for the CKD ones, this is really dangerous.
Yeah, like we see everywhere that drinking tender coconut water is
Exactly.
always good. Like
Yeah.
now coming from you, when you find out something like this, it's not
Yes.
something that everybody would know, right?
Yes.
So I think with early detection, you get to make
Yes.
these smaller changes in lifestyle
We
also.
have the early detection, and then we have a disease management app,
Okay.
which will actually, give them the information as to what are the do's, don'ts, all in a language agnostic way. We're in a
Right.
position to communicate that to the patients so that they will be more aware.
Right.
Because awareness is the most important thing here.
Right.
So
because,
that's what we can do with our apps.
okay, because like treatment might be a longer journey, but living with kidney disease, it is a lifelong thing, right? You
Yes.
have to prepare for it. So I think making these lifestyle changes is really important.
Very much.
There are features in the app that really help with this, right?
Yes.
You've already given us like a brief idea. If you could just explain a little more in detail, how features on this app help people, manage their lifestyle better for treatment of kidney-related issues.
Yeah, see, managing a disease needs a multidisciplinary approach.
Right.
I need a nutritionist, I need a cardiologist, I need nephrologist, of course, and I need a whole lot of experience
Yeah.
to do that. And all this, has been worked out very well over several years. So we have the Australian KDIGO standard.
Okay.
We have the NHS standard. So they have laid down a perfect protocol as to how the disease can be managed.
Right.
But then somebody to read that and then implement, it's very difficult. So that is what we have embedded into our app. We call it as the CARE app, and that will actually help these patients. It says what are the do's every day. They may get a snippet, and that will be telling what is good for people with kidney problems, what is not good for you, and now it gives reminders when you have to go for the next checkup.
Okay.
And it shows them a trend as to how you're managing the disease. All these, will help the patients to get more awareness, and they would be more motivated to adopt it.
Definitely. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Does the app also help with, data management of records? Because
Yes.
a lot of patients find it difficult, if you're, say, even with like switching doctors, it's hard to keep your data all in one place. But I think the app also helps with something like that.
Exactly. So the first time we detect that the problem, there is a kidney problem,
Right.
then we create a medical record for them, EMR.
Okay.
It's very anonymously done.
Okay.
So that they don't have to spend too much time in
Right.
creating all that, and doctor, they don't have to make one more interview or a session to collect the data. So all this information will be collected, and it will be kept in the very secured way in the cloud,
Okay.
in our nephrology information system. And next time when they come, they will be having the old records, and they can quickly, the doctor can, or more than that, the machine itself can decide whether the
decide.
person is managing it okay or not okay. And then if there is some abnormalities, it will channelize it, triage it to the right type of specialist.
That's awesome. Speaking of which, prevention is always better than cure, right?
Yes.
In this machine, how really does it help to, how does it help to detect potential risks? Is that a facility that's also been taken care of here?
Yeah, there are two things here. One is the preventive part and disease management. That is simple mobile apps.
Okay.
But then the machine, when it comes, the machine comes into picture, the dialysis machine, only for those who have reached the end stage.
Okay.
And
okay.
these end-stage patients, ESRD patients, they have to either go for dialysis or get a transplant. So
Okay.
we look at more of a more sustainable one and sort of feasible one for majority is the dialysis.
Okay.
Because
Got it.
transplants, again, you have a big queue and all that. So while dialysis is done,
Right.
today it is all done, in institutions like, which are there in big cities and all
Right.
that. And they normally have a hospital also attached to it. And in case of any problem, the specialist can be rushed to the place
Right.
and they can manage it. So what we see is that shifting this sort of a environment to a rural setup,
Yeah.
where low resource setting, it's very difficult. So that is why we have made the machine smart, so that it has a monitoring capability, continuous monitoring.
Right.
So while the patient is going through dialysis, the machine keeps monitoring them for all these vitals like pulse rate, heart rate, blood
Right.
pressure, temperature, all these sort of things, which if there is any sort of an abnormality, it will immediately put the machine into the safe mode or patient into the
Okay.
safe mode and inform the doctor wherever they are that, oh, there is a patient, whose BP is
Okay.
going low, for example, something like that. So that now the doctor can remotely, through his app,
Recommend.
contact the technician out there and suggest what they have to do. So that way, we are keeping the machine, which is very smart, which can manage these sort of eventualities
Right.
in a much decent way here.
Okay, so you've kind of already answered my next question, but I'm still just going to put it out there. Like you just said, kidney disease affects different people differently. Is the machine also able to, and you said, it's monitoring throughout, like
Exactly.
as things are happening in real time. Can the machine also detect and tailor separate plans for separate patients and then obviously recommended by the doctor? You go ahead with those procedures and, that prescription. But the machine is able to recommend the right course of action based on the reaction of the patient, right?
Certainly.
Okay.
See, the today's world, the medicine, we are talking about precision and we are talking about preventive, we are talking about
Customizations.
precision and also, customized or
Yeah.
personalized, as
Yeah,
we say,
yeah.
personalized, preventive
Right.
and precision.
Right.
So this is the thing what we are doing, and for that, you need a lot of data, and we get a lot of data from the patient while
Right.
dialysis is happening, and we also monitor the patient while they are off dialysis and see how they are. Their sleep pattern, we see how they are exercising, their
Right.
mobility, all this stuff, and we'll be in a position to make a sort of a personalized profile. So this is possible in our machine, and once the patient has a personalized profile, not all of them should go for 3.5 hours, 4 hours dialysis.
Right.
So there is a motivation for the patients now to see that they comply to whatever the nephrologist has said or the nutrition has said, and then maybe within 2.5 hours itself their entire dialysis process may get over.
Yeah.
So that is the possibility with this data management, and
that can create a huge impact, right?
Exactly,
It can affect like
exactly.
multiple patients on a daily, everyday basis. My next question is really about what do you think is the future of healthcare in smaller cities and in rural towns? Do you think tech innovations like these are going to make a huge impact in lesser popular or lesser accessible areas in the country?
Definitely, the going forward, I think even the government is in promoting this, where the healthcare centers, the PHCs particularly, are no more called as PHCs. They are going to be transformed to healthcare and wellness centers. So a lot of these things, like geriatric care, pediatric care, chronic disease management, all that is going to be moved to this healthcare wellness centers.
Okay.
And people will only have to travel when they have to get some very complex procedures done.
Right.
Otherwise, most of it can be handled at these healthcare wellness centers.
That's awesome.
And this is something which, again, we have learned from the Western world. In Europe, I work very closely with Netherlands and their health system, and there, this model has been very successful. So the similar sort of a model we also see in India, and that's going to really bring down the healthcare burden for the patients firstly, because
Right.
every time they have to travel to a bigger town or city is very expensive for them.
Yes.
And now if they get it at their doorstep, and you have this connected through ICT to the bigger centers, and that will change the way healthcare is being delivered. It really
Yes.
democratizes healthcare.
Fair. I think that's a very, very valid statement. And I also feel when you have technology which is backed by, like geniuses like yourself, it becomes a lot more credible also for patients to have more faith and more trust in the treatment that's happening. Adding to that, I think there are like some certifications that are really unique to this product, right?
Right.
Do you want to like just tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, see, for all these, we need even though we are looking at Indian market first,
Right.
we want to build a machine which is as good as any other imported versions or
course.
whatever. So we have got the certification. First, we approached the European Union, which is they have the CE
Yeah.
certification, the IEC standards and all that. So our machine, we have two versions of them which is there in the market now. One is the RXT 17 and then the RXT 21. Both have CE certification.
Okay.
And that means that we can take it to any country outside India also, and it's a highly accepted standard.
That's awesome.
And we also are working with our Indian standards. Yeah,
And it's
CDSC.
completely made in India.
Completely
so that's
made in
another
India,
feather
yes.
in our cap.
We have more than 6 patents, international patents here, and all the AI, ML, whatever you're talking today, people talk, everything is there in this, which we envisaged right in 2013 itself.
Dr. Shyam, thank you so much for being on us today here with Z Healthcare Heroes. It's been an absolute pleasure having this conversation with you. And for our viewers, until next time, take care, stay healthy.